when you lose hope, you've really just lost sense of what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Hey guys, welcome to Soul Vitamins. Hi Soul Bites, I'm Sonali. I'm really excited to welcome Emeka Nnaka. Emeka is a former professional football player who suffered a tragic accident during one of his games at only age 21 that led him to be paralyzed from the neck down. And he has since channeled his energies, been an incredible community leader in Tulsa and working with youth groups, and is now a motivational speaker and advocate for the power of hope, which I am really excited to hear more about. So Emeka, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Oh, so great to see you again. I met Emeka in Tulsa, Oklahoma for the 100-year anniversary of Black Wall Street. It was great meeting you. You're my favorite person I met there. And so I'm so excited to have you as part of my first series.
To know that we met under conditions of both of us crashing like an event that we both didn't know we were crashing in. Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. We just ended up at this tech venture cap conference, and we just ended up going to all these events, raged in Tulsa. Tulsa is the best. So everyone, Vegas, Miami, New York, move aside, Tulsa is a vibe.
Don't sleep on Tulsa. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
I really want to make t-shirts that say there's something about Tulsa. I'm going to do it.
Merch, collab, can we do that?
There we go, let's do it.
Well, it was so amazing being able to have a Tulsa celeb / locale show me around the city. I think what inspired me the most about you is how just authentic, genuine, and like joyous your energy is. You're honestly one of the best people to be around. And I think this community you built in Tulsa, how many people wrote in to Ellen about you, 50 plus, which we will get to. That's just a testament to this tribe, this beautiful group of people you've built. And that's because of such a genuine person you are. So since meeting you, I think like it's been a daily reminder for me to be constantly checking my energy, because man, there are things in life that throughout your day, throughout your life, everything that just tests your energy. I think it's especially bad now living in Miami, the road rage I have, like you just want to breathe fire on people. But it's so important to just move through life, making other people around you feel as good as possible, being as positive as you can. So thank you for that inspo. And thank you again for being on the show. So I'm excited to get started. My first question, so I loved your TED Talk talking about kind of those roller coaster of emotions you were feeling after your accident, initially being really angry, kind of guilty for burdening people. And then you had this turning point where working with the youth group in Tulsa, you believed in yourself again and you were able to find purpose. And so I love how, I want to know more about that story of transitioning from that to motivational speaking and how you discovered that passion.
Playing a game in Arkansas, went and made a tackle, and something just didn't feel right. And in that moment, I felt like I didn't know what to expect. I honestly didn't know what to expect. I really just thought that I was going to be in the hospital for a couple of months. And then I was going to go back to playing football. After I got out of the hospital, it was very apparent that my life was not going to go back to what it was. Everything that I had worked so hard to build up at that moment was gone. And that was an extremely rough time for a host of different reasons. Like you said, you mentioned the guilt that I felt. Like I felt guilty for letting my friends down, my family down, for letting myself down. I felt angry because I just, I'm in this position where I can't move. I don't have any control. And it was just really hard. Dark, like when I say dark, like that's almost an understatement, because I do believe that, when you lose hope, you've really just lost sense of what you're doing and why you're doing it. And so I went through this moment, I went through these months where I couldn't grasp, why am I here? One of the best definitions for depression that I heard was the inability to construct the future. And I felt like I was in this place where I couldn't see past my circumstances. Honestly, I think a lot of people see my story, and a lot of people see that I, work with kids now, and I do all these different things. And what people don't know is that in that time, my beginning to volunteer with youth was not, there was no altruistic motivation to, oh, you know what, I'm going to turn my life around by working with kids. Like, that was not it at all. I mean, honestly, I was fortunate to have a friend that worked with kids, and he would come and hang out with me at the house, and he invited me to get out of the house. And I literally went there as a way to get out of the house and out of my head. Nothing more than that. I was bored at home, and he knew that I, didn't mind being around young people, and invited me to come to his job. And when I was there, that's when things started to change. I don't know. After, a couple of like months, it was like, okay, like, I think that I might have something different here. Not the same, not the same impact that I thought that I was going to have on this world, but it was a different one. It was a different pathway to a new goal. And it just took some time, because it's not an overnight thing where, I start working with kids and I start feeling better about my life. It was like a year's process. And the light bulb moment for me was I ran into two of the two guys that were like under my first round of kids that I volunteered with. And they had graduated and gone on to, go to college, and they had visited back and said, they were so glad that I had gotten hurt. And we're in the middle of this conversation. I'm looking at them funny, like, what? They're like, oh, man, that came out funny. That's not what we meant. We mean that, if you had gone on to play football, we maybe have never have met you, and we wouldn't be the men that we are today if we hadn't met you. And that comment changed everything. There's moments in our lives that maybe as you see something, you hear something, you do something that in that moment you're not the same. And that was that moment for me where I left there and it was all I could think about. And that night I recognized that it was like, you know what? I've had some rough things happen, but you know what? If I can serve other people, if I can make a difference in just one person's life, then, there's purpose in my pain, even if it's not for myself.
That was a soul vitamin moment if I've ever heard one, Emeka. Love that. So going back to the Ellen point, I love that you were able to share this story on Ellen a couple times. Like, how was that? That must have been surreal, especially because you weren't really expecting it. It was like a surprise that your friends organized. Tell us about that.
Man, the Ellen experience was something crazy. So Vice, let me tell y'all, I've experienced some hardship. And so I've had, my neck injury and rebounding from that. To kind of fast forward the story, in 2018 was probably one of the best years of my life, because I had gone back to school where I hadn't, succeeded before. And I had gotten my associate's degree. I'd gotten a bachelor's degree. And in 2018, I graduated with my master's degree. And along that time, I'd also fundraised over, time in the community and raised enough money to purchase a handicap accessible vehicle. Great van that allows me to be independent. And I'm going to say this, but no one can really feel the pain that is a loss of independence, where I could not like drive and move around. Like, that was one of the hardest things, being a wheelchair user, is like, I can't go to and from places, but this van opened up my entire world. And in 2018, leaving work one day, I crashed my van. It got totaled out. 2 weeks after that, my dad, who helps me get up out of bed, fell and broke his ankle. And then that was its own ordeal. And then 2 weeks after that, my apartment complex catches on fire and the whole thing goes up in flames. 31 days of just sheer hell. And so people in the community were writing into the Ellen Show, and I ended up getting surprised on the Ellen Show. And they awarded me with $100,000, and I was able to buy a new van, which cost $110,000. But through that whole process, going through that 31 days of hell, it was one of those things where I would literally just like meditate and think to myself, you know what, you have been through some tough things before. Like, it's just a pendulum swing of like, things seem bad now, but if you can hold on long enough, good can happen. Like, things can swing to good. I have a motto where I'm like, I leave room for good to happen. And so that's exactly what I did. And the universe kind of followed suit, you know. If that was ever something like, I just remember coming back from that experience and feeling like this is what life is. It's overcoming. Like it's going, you know, we like to think that, you know, your life is going to go from, you know, go higher and higher and higher and higher, but life is like a rising stock, right? So like, if you zoom in on a stock that's rising, it's never just straight up or straight up. It's like up, down some, like that's how it all is, you know. And then there's anything that I think we should toast to is that, you know, life is beautiful with its good and its bad. Like,
I love that. Cheers. Cheers to that. No, seriously. And that just another example of so many hardships happening in your life and you just looking at it with a positive perspective. It's so refreshing. I mean, talk about being tested. And in the end, a good came out of it, because being on the Ellen Show, able to share your story, give you more of a platform for your new passion of motivational speaking. Like that's incredible. And very jealous. I know I'm a huge fan of Ellen, grew up watching her, and my friends are actually on the show for 12 Days of Christmas, and everyone won a trip in the audience to Vegas. So got to go to Vegas on Ellen's dime. Thank you, Ellen, for that. And thank you for the van, because the van fun we had in Tulsa, I mean.
That is right. We did have a lot of good times in the van, yeah.
Soul nights. We were leaving the bars one night, and I think Emeka must have packed like 10 people in that van, and we were just blasting jams. Like, I'm having a dance party.
Look, let me tell you, when you are hosting people, I'm trying to show everybody around. I got the van, I'm the DJ. All the pressure was on, but the tunes was great. The vibes were great. Oh man, the weather was great. The people, like, again, that's one of my best memories of 2021 for sure.
Me too, for sure. I can't wait to come back. So working with kids and kind of your experience with motivational speaking, what would you tell your younger self?
I'd tell my younger self to gain knowledge in entrepreneurship and, you know, learn the language of money. The next thing that I would tell myself is that just remember the times that you've overcome, because I think sometimes we can lose sight that we know how to do hard things. And I think that as an athlete, everything an athlete does from like youth to professional is muscle memory. It's, you know, it's to see the ball go in the hoop and capitalize on that momentum. And so I think that I tell my younger self is that, hey, remember the things that you've done, the hard things you've done, and apply that to the hard things that you're going to face.
Everyone's listening. All the baby soulvites are listening for this advice. So my favorite part of the show, last question, what is your soul vitamin? What fuels your soul, makes you feel on fire? What is it for you?
Man, my soul vitamin, honestly, is seeing people win and just help, like using my life and using the gifts that I have, the unique gifts that I have to improve somebody else's life. And so mine is talking, and whatever if yours is writing, if yours is being comedy, like being funny, like use what you got and improve the lives of others. I mean, I think if we do that, then we can make the world go round.
Beautiful answer. I love that. Emeka, thank you so much again for being on this episode. I'm so excited we got to talk, excited for this year to reunite in Tulsa. Do you want to tell our Soulvite viewers your contact info, where they can find you?
Absolutely. So I'm Emeka Nnaka. On Instagram, you can find me at Emeka Nnaka. I'm sure they'll spell it for you. And on Twitter, I'm at Emeka Nnaka, and my website is www. You guessed it, EmekaNnaka.com. Also, livebeyondlabels.com.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of Soul Vitamins, my show featuring the stories of creatives and entrepreneurs that aims to inspire others.